everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Happy 2019! Today I'm going to be doing another Julie movie recommendations video. This time we're going to be talking about the ones that make us laugh. So I made a video some months back where I recommended a whole bunch of musicals Julie Andrews had made. And I said I wanted to turn it into a bit of a series, and here's the second installment. Movies Julie made that make me laugh. And hopefully they'll make you laugh too. In case you didn't watch the first video, these lists do not contain Mary Poppins, The Sound of Music, or Princess Diaries. Everybody knows about those three, so there's not a lot of point recommending them. I also said in that first video that there could be a lot of overlapping, so movies could appear on more than one list. And that's exactly what's happened today. A lot of the movies on this list, in fact most of them, were actually also on the musical list. And there are of course movies like the Shrek series and Despicable Me and Tooth Fairy and Enchanted, but I'm not going to be recommending them in quite the same way. They are obviously Julie Andrews movies, she was in them, just like Aquaman's a Julie Andrews movie now. But I don't think they're Julie movies in quite the same way as the others, so I'm not going to talk about them. Though I would recommend them all. Especially Shrek 2, that's a lot of fun. So finally, let's start the list. And I'm going to start with the ones that aren't musicals. So first up we have Relative Values. This movie came out in 2000 and it's a film adaptation of one of Noel Coward's plays. And it is so over the top and ridiculous that it's just hilarious. So it's set in the 1950s, in the golden age of Hollywood. And there's this young English aristocratic dude called Nigel. And Julie plays his mother Felicity. Nigel's just gotten engaged to the current big Hollywood starlet Miranda Frail, played by Jean Trepplehorn, and so he's brought her out to his big English estate to introduce her to the family. But as it turns out, Miranda's sister is actually Felicity's maid. So of course they do the only reasonable thing and have the maid, Moxie, dress up as an aristocrat and play to be their friend rather than the maid so that Miranda won't recognise her. Throw in the old Hollywood boyfriend chasing after Miranda and hilarity ensues. The setup alone is completely hilarious and what happens is completely hilarious, and there are some very amusing lines. My personal favourite is this one.
Well, I'm merely saying what I think. Well, don't, dear, it's so exhausting.
So yes, definitely check this one out. So next up we have On Golden Pond, which was finally released on DVD a couple of years ago. This was a live broadcast that Julie did in 2001, and also stars Christopher Plummer. So the couple from The Sound of Music are back together, and it's brilliant. Obviously it's a live production of the film On Golden Pond, which might have been a play before, I really don't know. So Julie and Christopher play husband and wife Ethel and Norman Thayer, and Norman in particular is very grouchy and grumpy and all that sort of stuff you are when you're in your elderly years. It's just started hailing outside, and I don't know how long it's gonna last, so I'm just gonna keep filming. That's what the sound is, if you can hear it. I hope you can still hear me. Anyway, back to On Golden Pond. Their daughter comes back to visit with her latest boyfriend and the boyfriend's son, but they're also off on a holiday very, very soon. So Ethel and Norman ask if Billy, the son, would like to stay with them while Chelsea and his dad are away. And that really makes Norman relax. We don't actually get to see a whole lot of the summer, it's a bit of a time jump, but it's still very amusing. I don't even know if I could really explain why I think it's so amusing. I think it's just the way Chris in particular plays the role. And even though there is a time jump, I like how not only can Billy make Norman relax, but Norman can actually teach Billy some things. And if you like The Sound of Music, which obviously you know I do, there are some things that are not quite in-jokes, but certainly make you think of The Sound of Music. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if they're in there or not. They probably are. But it's still very amusing. Very early on, Julie's talking about one of their neighbours and how some time ago they used to sing in the gazebo. Sounds familiar. So maybe the main reason I find it funny is because it is Julie and Christopher, and there are those tiny moments that remind me of The Sound of Music. So even if that's the only reason I find it funny, and it's not that funny for a whole bunch of other people, I'd still recommend it. especially if you like Sound of Music. And that's all the non-musical ones, actually. So the rest of them actually also appeared on the musical list. But I also think they fit into this category, so let's go. First we have Thoroughly Modern Millie, which I've talked about many times before, and the expressions alone that Julie has in this film are hilarious. But again, it's kind of one of those bizarre situations. A small town girl moves to the big city to find a husband, but things don't go quite according to plan. There's dancing in elevators, and the climax includes them having to save a whole bunch of people from a Chinese opium den. It sounds very dark and disturbing, but I find it actually much more amusing. And as I said, the expressions alone are just hilarious. So next up on the list we have Star. It was actually Star's 50th anniversary last year, 2018. It's weird to think it's 2019 now. Anyway, 2018 was Star's 50th anniversary, so I did a whole video on it a few months back. The movie's about 20th century stage and screen star Gertrude Lawrence, and though it just follows her life, I think it has some of the most singularly funny moments ever in any of Julie's movies. I also mentioned this in my Star video, but this is probably one of the funniest moments in the movie.
Come and kiss me, darling.
I beg your pardon?
That's your line.
Oh, thank you very much.
I don't know why, I just find it hilarious. If you want to see more about why I find this one really funny, I'd recommend go watching the Star video. I think it's actually my favourite video out of all the videos I've made. So yes, there's some very funny moments, and if you like 3 hours of Julie singing, give this one a watch. That's pretty much what it is. And the fifth and final movie I'm going to talk about is Victor Victoria. Like Star, it's a musical. Like Star, I think it has some of the most singularly funny moments in any movie Julie's ever made. For those who don't know, in this movie Julie plays Victoria, who's very broke in 1930s Paris. So she meets this man named Toddy, and he has this crazy idea that if she pretends to be a female impersonator, they can both become very rich. So she ends up being a woman who's playing a man who's playing a woman, and everything just gets all out of control. Toddy in particular, I think, has some of the most funny moments. And yet, I think at the same time some of them can be very poignant, like this one.
Shame is an unhappy emotion invented by pietists in order to exploit the human race.
Who said that?
I said that.
And of course, there's this bit.
Sit up.
Then what?
Stand up.
Oh, sit up, stand up, throw up.
Now, you are not going to be sick.
Not if I faint first.
So there you have it. 5 Julie Andrews movie recommendations that are likely to make you laugh. And 3 of which you can sing along to. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you choose to watch any of the movies, I hope you enjoy them. Let me know in the comments if you've seen any of them, and what did you think? Let me know if you think there are any other movies that Julie made that are really funny that should have been on this list. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!